And the interesting thing about, and I think you will love that word, if we look at the word home, it's the two letters Omar in it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it actually, if we can create our home as a reflection of our God being and our God presence,
Yes.
right? Not that it has to become a temple. You know, we're having families, we're having businesses. We don't need to have a temple space, but it would be great to also activate the right areas in your home for your altar. Where do you place that based on your personal vibration? So all these things, they need to be there, but we need to have a space where there's a higher harmony, a higher peaceful vibration, so that when we come in our home, we can live on that sound of Om.
Right, absolutely. Peace and riches blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the host of Take Back Your Mind. Peace and riches blessings, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Take Back Your Mind. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center, and every week I get to speak to some extraordinary people. We get to have some great conversation, individuals in their own way who have taken back their mind, opened up their heart, and allowed for their life to be an instrument of upliftment, inspiration, teaching, education, and more. Today, I have Marie Diamond in person with me right here at Agape. Isn't that great? Welcome.
Thank you so much, Michael, for having me.
Absolutely. If you don't know who she is, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about her, but you probably know, but maybe you don't know all of this. World-renowned master teacher of Feng Shui and the law of attraction, multi-time global best-selling author, the star of the major network TV series, Feng Shui Your Life. Marie has been featured on NBC, Fox, CBS, and together we were in The Secret. It's beautiful. After a near-death experience as a teenager, she has made it her mission to enlighten at least 500 million people with her teachings and wisdom. A true seer in the modern context, reemerges her profound intuitive knowledge with her extensive study of quantum physics, feng shui, and meditation to help her students attract financial success, improve health, long-lasting relationships, and of course, spiritual growth. She has taught more than 2 million students over the last 30 years and has spoken in more than 30 different countries. She is a business and spiritual mentor to celebrities, CEOs, and top entrepreneurs alike. Check this out. 2024, she was officially inducted into the Speakers Hall of Fame. And in January 2025, she received the Legacy Award at the Mind Valley Awards Gala in Dubai. Now, her latest book is right here. Your Home is a Vision Board. Harness the secret manifesting power of your home. And guess what? Obviously, it's out right now. So before this interview or conversation is over, you might as well get the book. You know you're going to get it. So you might as well get the book. And then we're going to break down some things. Let me ask you this. First of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Listen, near-death experience.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was 15. I grew up in Belgium, in Bruges, and I was on my way home to have lunch. And I was run over by a truck. And so I was catapulted on all pebble stones. And when the ambulance came, they declared me dead. And I was actually put in the ambulance with the fabric over me. And then somebody announced to my mom, run to my mom, that was just around the corner from where I lived, like, you have to go, Marie had an accident. So she came into the ambulance. I do remember hovering over my body and like looking at this strange experience. Like, I saw my body, I saw my mom there. I'm like, what is she doing here? Right? And then I saw this ambulance guy, and I was 15, of course. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's so cute. Right?
You're dead, but you're thinking about the cute guy.
Right. I'm dead, but I'm thinking about that. And then I just catapulted. I went through like all dimensions. And I ended up in this beautiful space where there were like 9 beings of light. I would call it masters or angels, whatever you call it. And they said, you have to go back. You are here to enlighten more than 500 million people. Now, of course, when I returned, I had no idea what that meant. I was out of coma, was 15 years old, Catholic background, enlightenment. You don't know what that is.
Right.
And but the one thing, what happened was that they wanted to do plastic surgery on my face because my whole skin was ripped off. And so I said to my mom, please don't do that. I will heal myself. At that time, healing yourself was not something you did, right? It was like Jesus heals you, or angels heal you, or whatever. And so, and my mom listened to me, what I still am so grateful for. So I start feeling this energy in my hands, and I never had that before. So I started putting my hands on my face, and 2 weeks later, I went back to school. I had a new skin.
You had what?
I had a new skin.
You had a new skin.
Yeah. And so still today, people always comment me on my skin or telling me like, you look so much younger than your age. I'm like, well, I have a skin that is 15 years younger.
And this happened with energy coming out of your hands.
Yeah, it just came out of my hands. And I had no idea what that really meant. I just knew something major had shifted in me, right? I had no context for that. I was 15. So I thought at that moment, enlightenment means probably making a difference in the world.
Yes.
So I started being of service, first of all, to the church where I was belonging to, then to the local scouts, to the local health organization. Every time I could after school, I would go and donate my time as a, service to society. And so because I thought like, if I make every day one person feeling better about themselves, and I even had calculated if I would turn like 80 or 100, how many people, if I would have changed one person per day.
Right. How do I get to this 500 million?
Yeah, right. So I didn't get there. But then it was very interesting. I turned 18 and I was like, how can I really make a major impact in the world? And I thought like, if I become, I would say a politician, or I would become a diplomat, and I would work for the European Union or work for the United Nations, something like this. I could reach millions of people. That was like my brain thinking. And so I became an international lawyer. Yeah, because I was like, that's the only way for me at that point to help people. Of course, I had no idea that the things you do so wonderful and things what I do, that is also a direction that did not exist at that time in my field, not in my country for sure. So so I became a lawyer, and then I started seeing after 5 years being a lawyer that was not going to happen. That was not going to happen. Or I had to, I was asked by many political parties to be part of their direction. They saw like a young woman that spoke 4 languages, that was smart, that was charming. So they all wanted me, in their political party.
Yes, right.
And I was like, I have to give up too much for that. And I didn't want to stay stuck in Belgium either. So I said no to that. But it was interesting. After my near-death experience, I had reconnected with my spiritual master. So the spiritual master is an immortal, is an ascended master.
You're connecting with him through your meditation,
through meditations,
your inner travels.
Or he would
appear,
literally in my life. And he came for the first time when I was 7, in my life. So I reconnect with him, and I just asked him, like, what did I do wrong? I mean, I've been meditating, I've been praying, I've been like a model teenager for my parents and school. And he said, oh, Marie, you just have bad feng shui.
Really? That's what he said?
That's what he said. And I was like, what's that? Right? So, of course, I started researching, but in our libraries in Belgium, there was nothing about that. And he said, like, well, your location where you sleep is so bad that you need to really change bedrooms. And indeed, the bedroom where I slept, I was very depressed if I look back at it. I had no friends. I was bullied at school. I just had nightmares night after night. And so I actually asked my parents to move to the front room upstairs. I was like for my brothers, but they had moved out already. They were much older. And there was a lot of sunshine coming in. I painted it actually that orange.
Oh, wow.
Because orange stands for a lot of joy. And so suddenly my life shifted. The people that bullied me became my friends. My depression was gone. I was so happy and joyful. My studies went better. I mean, it was like also the relationship with my father was very bad before, really improved. So I really saw that, changing my environment was really affecting me. And that was my first experience of understanding that whatever is around me is also affecting me and my mindset.
Right. So this great master, does he have a name?
Yeah, it's Saint Germain.
Oh, Saint Germain came to you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
Saint Germain came to me. Yeah.
And he's speaking to you just like we're speaking.
Yeah. He would appear, and so he actually the first time came in my playroom, and I was like, oh. And he said, I was like, oh, I know you. Right? It was just like so familiar for me. Right. And he said, yeah, you know me as Merlin. So just call me Merlin for the moment, as a child. And so he would teach me about colors. He gave me my first meditation that I still till today do every day, actually. And so, yeah, he would just come in. I was in a home. I mean, I have an amazing mom, but my father had quite a traumatic experience in World War II. So he had PTSD severely. He was very abusive, mentally, physically. And so it was a really difficult time. And so I always feel that meditation that he gave me and the knowledge, some basic knowledge, because I was a child, to be honest, right? Right. So he would say to me, if you want something, paint it. So I would create like every day a painting of my family being happy. And he gave me 5 colors to work with, to paint that. And so in a way I was visualizing. Right, as a child.
And you were doing with the kinesthetic as well.
Yeah, kinesthetic, correct. Yeah. So I was like looking at it. And like, instead of a home that was sad and, it was a lot of fight, it was a home that everyone was laughing, was joyful. And then my oldest brother left the home because he got married without the consent of my father. And so suddenly he was gone, and he was my favorite brother. And so it was very interesting for me. I was like, well, perhaps I can draw that he's coming back, right? So I was drawing that he would come back with Christmas, because that was like August. And so there were 5 colors. It was aqua blue, yellow, rose, purple, and green. That were the 5 colors I used all the time, because colors have vibrational fields, as we know. Right. And so I was drawing then all the time that we would have a Christmas dinner together with him and his wife. And so, and I was like, I did not know it was working or not. I was just drawing it all the time. And then, in December 6th in Belgium, we celebrate St. Nicholas. What here you call Santa Claus on the 25th, but for us it's St. Nicholas. And so my brother sent me a package of 5 lollies, because you sent gifts of sweets to children. And these were lollies in these exact 5 colors. And I was like, of course, right? And I was like, oh my God, it's working. And then I had his address. So I said to him, you need to come the day before at 11 o'clock. And I was drawing that my father would sit on one side, my brother, and I was in the middle, and I let them shake hands in my painting. So at 11 o'clock that day, nobody showed up. And my father was like, well, I told you, oh, this is crazy. And
he knew you were painting?
Yeah, I told him that. Yeah. And at 11:15, the door rang, and it was my brother say, oh, the train has a delay. So I actually put my father there, like in my painting, I controlled the room, right? And so my mother was chased out, like, no, you're not part of this painting, right? And so after 15 minutes, like, guys, give hands, and the next day we were all together for Christmas. So that was like my first time that I really understood visualization. Right. Yeah. That I was visualizing all the time. And from that moment on, I just always create a vision wall. I was drawing it, repeating it every day, asking God for blessings on it. Like, of course, I knew I was just co-creating with the universe and God at that time. But that's like how I started. Right.
That's beautiful. So give the audience a beginner's understanding of Feng Shui. People that this might be new to them.
Yeah. Well, Feng Shui is, first of all, an energy system that is based thousands of years ago already in Asia and especially in China. And Feng Shui really means wind and water. And so it's about the vitality forces that we have. Like literally wind means our breath, right? And water is the water that we need to drink, right? So if you think about, if you don't have wind or breath in a few minutes, you have no life force.
Right.
And water, you're missing out on it. In 7 days, you probably are gone too. So these are actually these two life forces that we have that we can tap into. Now, I do believe that for thousands of years ago, and it's about, they think 3,000-4,000 years, that I think the local shamans, the people that were in tune with nature, start understanding there are certain spaces in the landscape where you are building something that there's a higher vitality.
Right.
Yeah. So the first thing they looked at, very simple, was that they would make sure there's enough sunshine coming in, right? So the windows would be towards the south or the west because that's the most sunshine, and they would close off, no windows, no doors to the north and the east because the colder winds are coming in.
Is this in every country or just in?
Well, it's the northern hemisphere at that point, right? So, and I've seen later on when I talk to farmers, they do the exact same thing. They are making sure the harvest is going towards the south and the west, and they are protecting the north and the east with hedges or high trees or something to make sure there's not cold wind coming in. So this is like, I would say, almost farming knowledge.
Right.
But I think they also understood that there were more and more other, I would say, formulas of life or principles that were playing out. And so we see that over the years, each time the emperor would say like, oh, I found a new solution. I'm sure it was one of his scholars that told the emperor, and then the emperor took on that, yes, I got a new element getting to Feng Shui. But literally what it means is that you are in alignment with the flow of qi. Yeah. And so the flow of qi, according to what I learned, my grandmaster always said there's 3 parts to the manifestation power. The first part is what he calls the spiritual luck. And spiritual luck is like you come to this planet and your soul, your spirit comes with a purpose, right? And so you have talents, your soul has decided to be born in a certain family, you have some karmic experiences. And so what happens is that, you go through that experience. Yeah, you can make some decisions based on that.
Right,
like I was born in Belgium and I moved to America.
Right.
Question is, was that my decision or was it my destiny? I don't know, right? So, but that's like responsible, according to Feng Shui, for 1/3 of your results.
Okay.
So let's say you have a voice that is amazing when you're born, but you only use it in the shower. Then, you have a great destiny as a singer, but you don't
do anything about it.
Don't do anything about it. The second part, he said, is like your human potential. Yeah. So human potential is, what do I do with the gifts? What do I do with the talents God has given me? And so do I think positive about it? Do I have the right mindset? Do I have the right behavior? Do I take action upon it? What are the people I surround myself with to uplift that human potential? Do I fulfill that divine plan that God has given me every day in my life?
Right.
And so, of course, if you look at the whole self-development, even The Secret, we talk about that aspect. But they said there's another third that is also important, and that's the location where you are. Yeah. So it's not just living in LA or something or somewhere in the world, but it's actually the place where you live, sleep, and work. Everything around you is or supporting your destiny and supporting your goals and your human potential, or it's holding you back.
Right.
Yeah. And that is when I started understanding, when I was 15, is that the images that were around me, the colors that were around me, that was actually the old bedroom of my sister. So my sister is a fashion designer, right? So everything around it was fashion. That's not my destiny.
Right.
So I created a whole other environment, different colors. I painted different things around me, different posters, because my destiny was like, I wanted to travel the world. So I would put images up of traveling, right? Because we didn't travel at all when we were young. There was just no money for that. And now, we both have traveled the world, right? So the whole point was I had another focus in my life than the room of my sister. So then I started understanding that, everything around me is subconsciously really supporting me, and if I can align that with my inner goals, if I can align that with my vision and my mission in life, then that location would support me. And so I can actually create a high frequency there. So I always say the home is actually a manifestation tool that most people are ignoring.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why the title of your book, Your Home is a Vision Board.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, because you can create the energy vortex that you need to either support your destiny, or it can damper it.
It does. And you have seen, I'm sure everybody had the experience, you go to certain places and you're like, oh, I love it here. You don't really know why, what is the good feng shui of it, right? And then you go to other places and you're like, oh, I don't want to come back here.
Right.
So there's an intuitive connection. And that's why I call your home is literally like a quantum physics field. And as we know, everything has a frequency.
Yes.
Right? And so, but it's more than that. There's a system to it that they have understood over thousands of years, that if you place certain things certain place, that this will enhance things. And then based also on your personal birthday, we see there's an energy profile that's connected with your DNA. It's like your DNA is created in this world. And then based on that, there's certain wind directions, compass directions as we call it, that are doing better for you than others. So when people then face this direction, like the chakras align more, when they are placing certain things, like literally like acupuncture almost, right? Right. So if you do acupuncture, you create a pressure point. What if you create a positive pressure point by placing a crystal or a plant, a certain area? It actually gives subconsciously a stimulation to you based on your birthday.
Outstanding. What are some of the misconceptions people have about feng shui?
Well, I think one of the misconceptions that people have is they think, well, this is an ancient Asian culture or technique, and so that perhaps this is not connecting with everybody in the world. And so I have, people from more than 190 countries that have studied with me, and they all have results with it.
Did you get to the 500 million yet?
Well, the secret
went to 1 billion.
I know, so we did. Check. We did, right? So I always say the secret did it, right? And we were part of it.
Right.
Yeah. So, but the whole point is that energetically, we can really align ourselves better, right? And so it's not because it's an Asian culture that we cannot practice it. And that has become like part of my vision. Like I really wanted to bring it to the Western world to make it more mainstream, so that, yes, I am not from Asian background, probably previous lifetimes, many times.
Possibly, yeah.
Right? But I would say that I'm a guest in that culture. But the moment I started studying that in Malaysia, it really spoke to me, and I got it, and I've been so passionate about sharing this.
Yeah. But obviously, as a kid, when you're 15, and you start drawing with the 5 colors, even when you were younger, based on Saint Germain or Merlin, you were already being pulled into it.
Correct.
So then later on, you got more sophisticated. You actually studied what the master was teaching you, and it became a part of your life. So I know it's ancient, but how has it shifted over the years? Has there been any major changes, or is it basic principles that are unalterable?
Well, it is actually said that every grandmaster always contributes something extra to the knowledge. Like, I'm not a grandmaster, but what I brought in, I made it more connected with the law of attraction and manifestation. I talk more about how it affects your brainwaves, actually. So I started bringing the more modern aspect to it. Yeah. So it always evolves with its time, but I'm a classically trained feng shui master from my grandmaster from Feng Shui was Chinese. So the whole point is I use the same principles that the traditional Chinese Feng Shui master will use. I just share it in a more easier Western way, but still
you make it accessible.
More accessible, yes.
Right.
Yeah. So, but it's evolving in the sense that it always adapts to the current time.
Right. So basically, as people are tuning in here, what should the average person avoid in their home?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would love them to avoid is clutter.
Yeah, I know that's a big one.
It's a very
I'm
big
getting
one.
ready to get rid of them. I'm going to bring you by my house.
Okay, but I'm not decluttering your home.
No, I have to do that.
You have to do that. But the whole point is that if we understand that clutter is chaos and that it's actually lower vibrations, yeah. So when we have done tests with encephalograms with Dr. Paul Sheely,
Yes, yeah,
right?
Dr. Paul.
So we
right.
did several tests with encephalograms together, where we literally put somebody in a cluttered space, even if it's not their own, yeah, and that within a few seconds, immediately they start creating more beta brainwaves. So clutter is actually a beta frequency, and so when we then bring them to a place where there's no clutter, there's harmony and peace around it, within a few seconds they actually create more alpha brainwaves. Yeah.
Wow.
So
It's scientific.
It is scientific, right? So I have done over the years so many tests with muscle testing, kinesiology.
Right.
When people look at clutter and you do muscle testing, immediately their body becomes weak.
Yes.
Right. But it's not just that they're having that one time, but it's like they sleep in it, they live in it, they work in it. It's a constant. It becomes a consistent, and that beta brainwave becomes the dominant tone, actually, right? The dominant energy. And so how can you be creative? Because when you're in beta brainwaves, your whole energy goes to your reptilian brain. Right. So that means you're thinking in the past. You're less creative. You're not focused.
Survival, even.
You're survival. You're in total fear mode. So clutter creates that. So what if you declutter and create harmony around you? What happens? Your energy will go to your frontal cortex. That's where you're creative. You think to the future. You have ideas. You have focus. And so you're thriving, right? So that's the first thing I always say to people: declutter the space. First of all, your bedroom. Right. Yeah. Because when you go to bed and you say, "Oh, I don't see it at night," there's clutter everywhere. But your energy field picks it up. Right. It absorbs it.
Everything's vibration.
It's all vibration, right? So if you don't have a partner and on your bed on one side is all, clutter and shoes and clothes, whatever, hey, guess what? You won't have somebody coming into your life because you don't allow, there's no space.
It's no energy.
It's all energy, right? If you open your closet and, literally everything falls on you because it's so overwhelming. Well, this is the first energy you have. So if you're working on the desk and before you start working, clear the space out. Because literally, if you have space, we create void. And when there's a void, literally the universe, God, can come in and bless you and give you ideas and inspiration. Like when you present and when you teach, you go also in that space.
Absolutely.
Right? So
tremendous spaciousness.
Yeah, for sure. Right? That's when, as teachers, that's what you do, or when, as your work of bringing God's word. So, but what if you think, I am God, I'm the universe, I'm that vessel. And if the space around me is not opening itself to that higher dimension coming through you, then it's much harder for you to tap into it.
Absolutely.
Now you can with a lot of willpower. Yeah. But it's harder.
But you can't sustain it often.
You cannot sustain it often, right? So that's the first thing I always suggest to people. The second thing is take away everything that's broken. Everything that is not having life force, like dead plants, for example, right? Or dead skin, or people hang interesting things around in their house, but also
they won't let it go.
They won't let it go.
Is it because they don't even notice it's there? They just forgot about it, or
sometimes convenient. It's sometimes convenient, or they don't feel it's it feels somehow comfortable to hold on to it. But also anything that is spiky. Like spiky plants, spiky leaves, because literally they call shachi. And I've seen many times when people have that around them, it's harder for them to feel calm and peaceful because the nervous system reacts to it. So, but also I would love for you to walk through your house and open the door from your front door and just think, I am God, I'm the universe. I'm walking into that space, and ask yourself two questions. Is the space reflecting who I am? And the second question is this reflecting who I want to be? Right. Yeah. So let's say you come into your house and you're single, and everywhere there's images of single people. Well, this is who you are. You're single. but you have been repeating that single energy because you see it all the time. Your home is creating a program. Now, the question is, why did you hang it there? Because you probably felt lonely and you felt single, but it's repeating itself. It's repeating itself to you. It's like a mirror energy. Right? And then the question is this who I want to be? No, I don't want to stay single. I want to be with
unless you do.
Yeah. Unless you do. Right?
Then,
that's your choice. But no, I don't want to stay single. Well, then look for removing these images because what you don't see doesn't affect you. Right? And so hang other things up that you feel like, oh, lovebirds, 2 hearts, I don't know, pictures of your family, like put things around you where you feel you're less lonely.
Right.
So these are like, you have to think about your home as a vision board. It means that everything around you is a reflection of you, and you can choose on what that reflection is.
Right. So what people need to know also is like you don't have to wait until you get the perfect house.
Yeah.
You just start where you are, and you make sure there's space there and that the energy is in alignment, and you do the best you can with what you have.
Correct.
Because sometimes people are waiting to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You just do it right where you are.
Correct. That is a big thing that people do. Sometimes they wait till I have my perfect home.
Right.
I started doing that in a 1-bedroom, right? I started doing that in my first studio. I had nothing except a small studio that was half of this room, right? It's like, don't wait, but do it every time where you are. Declare. It's almost like making that part of your manifestation routine. Yeah. And to look at your home and or your space thinking, is this reflecting me? Yeah?
Right.
And then what people can do, and they learn that also in the book, I have a free app and they can download the Mary Diamond app. So you just put in Mary Diamond in the app stores. And so you will actually there have to put in your birthday and your birth gender because it's connected with your DNA.
Does it have to be the time or just the date?
It's actually just a date.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the time. And so then it calculates, and it's not typical numerology. It's a whole other calculation. And they come up with a number. And that number gives a certain compass, and it shows which directions are good for you. And then people hold that compass in the center of their room. And so literally then they look like, oh, where's my success direction? Health, relationship, and wisdom. And so then they have to think about from that acupuncture perspective. Like I hold the app and, okay, what's in my success direction? So let's say that in your success direction is here. I don't know, I haven't checked it out. And you have your book there. The answer is you. Right? In my success direction, I have my book, right? So, but then you can put other things there, like your vision board or a journal or awards or certifications, things that reflect the career success, your vision, your mission for life. You can place it there. And by putting it there, you're actually creating this positive acupuncture point. Yeah. And then you have one for relationships, and that's based on your birthday. So in your relationship direction, in my office, yes, I do have a picture of my family, but I also have a picture of some of my high-end clients. I have a picture of the Transformation Leadership Council, for example. I have pictures of, I also have a globe there. Yeah, because how can I...
You want to travel around the world.
I'm traveling around the world, and I have students in so many countries. So it means that I need to represent them. It's like the symbols that you put out there, right? That kind of tell you subconsciously that story all the time, right? And so through the book, you go step by step and then what colors you work with it, what symbols work with it. And it's very interesting when you start doing that. It's like you start creating a space that is alpha.
Yes.
So your mind is connected with your space in a bigger way. Yeah. And there are directions that are not good for you. And then if you have clutter, well, put it in the direction that is not good for you. It doesn't bother you that much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if you need to have it, that's where you stick it.
Yeah, that's where you stick it, right? Yeah.
Now, what are some of the biggest testimonies or you've worked with somebody and the Feng Shui and all that you teach? What are some of the biggest success stories? That's what I wanted to ask.
Well, I think one of the biggest success stories is when I see a family transform, right? When like a woman or a man comes to me and they start practicing this work and they are passing it on to their partner and then their children. And then they come back to me and they said, oh my God, our family is doing so much better. Yeah, my career is doing so much better. Of course, I can talk about the celebrity clients that, got their awards and, doing so much better and their sales and so on. But I think one of the biggest ones for me was actually The Secret itself. Yeah. So because I put on my vision board in 2001 a little yellow Post-it note, and I put on it, I'm going to be in a movie seen by millions of people that will transform the world. I was just living in San Francisco, and I thought, I'm close to Hollywood, closer than Belgium.
Right.
And I was like, let me see if I can manifest to be in a movie. I thought, I didn't know as what. I never thought it would be as myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't even know. You just put it out there.
I just put it out there, right? And so then I thought, what is a symbol that could represent that kind of success? So I bought myself a fake Oscar. And I put my name, Marie Diamond, on it. And so I need 4 years. So I put 2005. And I put that in my success direction. And every day I would read that little Post-it note, and I would be like, hey, Oscar. And the first thing that happened was that I attracted my first Oscar-winning clients to do some consulting for it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now, his Oscar was much heavier than mine. Of course, mine is fake, right?
Right.
And so the second thing that happened within a month is I met Marcy Shimoff.
Oh, yeah.
And Marcy became my client. And she was like, oh, I'm so stuck since I started working with you. I got unstuck. I got, again, speaking engagements. Oh, I need to introduce you to John Gray. And then
all our friends.
Yeah, all our friends. Then John was like, oh, I'm so stuck, and said, okay, let me come in. And he was like, oh my God, my life is doing so much better. And then she introduced me to Jack Enfield, and Jack was like, oh, I'm trying to sell my book, The Success Principles, and nobody wants to buy it. And I'm like, yeah, but let me do your feng shui of your office. It's so off. So I changed everything around. And then he got a really good offer within a few weeks.
Wow.
And so he was like, I'm known in America, but not worldwide. And said, let's put this big globe up. And we put it in that exact angle, and you spin it every day. And after a few months, Inga called me, his wife, and said, can we stop spinning that globe?
He's gone all the time.
He's booked for a whole year outside the United States. And I was like, well, you can, right? So, and that's how I actually got into the Transformation Leadership Council, right? Yeah. And so I started having all these thought leaders that wanted me to support them. And then, we were both interviewed for The Secret. And then Rhonda called me one day. She was living in LA already. Right. And she was like, Marie, I don't know what's going on, but The Secret is not working for me, right? So the channel in Australia said they didn't want to air the movie because it was actually filmed for an Australian channel, TV channel. She said, I have all these DVDs. I don't know what, I cannot do it anymore. And I said, okay, let me come and do my magic. So I came in, I redirected her energy. I said, what do you want? She said, well, I want to be on Oprah. And I'm like, okay, let's get an Oprah magazine, put it exactly there. And then she said, I also want to have a book. I said, well, I will figure that out for you. She said, have you ever published a book? I said, not here in America, but in Europe, yes. And she said, I will attract this publisher for you. And she said, really? I said, start writing it. And so we took a bestseller book and we made a fake cover. We put it in her success direction. A week later, Beyond Words called me and they were like, Marie, we're at the edge of bankruptcy. Can you please come? They said, the last money you spend, please spend it on Marie. And so I came in, I changed their offices, and I said, before you go, here's a DVD. You should make a book out of it.
Wow, is that what happened?
That's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then
we're in that book.
And we're in that book.
With our pictures and everything.
Yeah, I know. So, but that's actually, that's why some people call me the secret behind the secret. Because the publisher, the producer, several people of The Secret were already my clients. I called them. I said, put Oprah Winfrey in that corner there because she wants to be on Oprah. Yeah. Right. And a few months later, she called her.
Yeah. I remember some of this. One of my friends had given the book to Oprah.
Yeah.
And the rest obviously is history. Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting. That was the second thing that was important what we did. I don't think you know that, is that she had 3,000 DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, I want you to send 100 DVDs to every speaker and every teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, what I ultimately want is that somebody watches the DVD and passes it on again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you have 600 left. Let's go to the streets of LA and let's give it away to people where we feel intuitively they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And so within a week, she had given away 3,000 DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, but Marie, that's all my money.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wait, how the universe works.
Right, right.
And so a month later, suddenly she got all this requests for getting DVDs.
Right, right.
And that is actually what happened. We start passing it on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still till today. People are saying, I bought this book I bought for a friend. I give it to that person.
Absolutely.
So we set the intention. So these were the two things we did.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've combined Feng Shui with what you call the law of attraction.
Correct. Yeah.
And yeah, because I know who you are.
Yeah.
I know the magic behind what you do. It's very,
Thank you.
very, very powerful. And yeah, so you've just brought to us the success stories.
Yeah.
And I know all these people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Jack and everybody. And wow, this is sweet.
Yeah.
So this book, was it a challenge writing this? Or
No, actually, it was not, in the sense that I've been speaking about this for so long.
so you're able to
right?
condense it.
Yeah, this time the Hay House that printed it, published it, they wanted also to have a little bit of my story in it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, it really tells some of the stories that how I used it myself to become successful in my field. Because I always say, how can otherwise a Belgian lawyer
Right.
become like one of the top speakers on law of attraction, right?
Right.
It's like I practice my own work, of course, right? And so so that is the first step, is like a little bit of my story. And then I go really, really practical. Like it's like me holding your hand together with the app, because you need the app to understand all the steps, and to bring it to the home so that people have an amazing result. And it's going viral. So people just buying it and giving it and buying and giving it to other people, because it's a missing link that I think most people were not aware of yet. Yeah, it's a missing link in the manifestation.
Yeah. This is very powerful, because you talked about lifting our alpha waves.
Yeah.
Coming out of beta by just shifting the energy of the room, getting out of clutter. You're talking about establishing an intention.
Yeah.
You're talking about your home being a vision board, as well as having a vision board, and then all of that, you're having a high energetic intention. So you're not being lazy. You actually have an intention, and then you set up everything to fulfill that intention by which you're trying to live. So then you manifest the intention. So it's not magic. It's actually science.
It is. I call it energetic science, really, to be honest. And the interesting thing about, and I think you will love that word, if we look at the word home, it's the two letters Om in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it actually, if we can create our home as a reflection of our God being and our God presence, right? Not that it has to become a temple. We're having families, we're having businesses. We don't need to have a temple space, but it would be great to also activate the right areas in your home for your altar. Where do you place that based on your personal vibration? So all these things, they need to be there, but we need to have a space where there's a higher harmony, a higher peaceful vibration, so that when we come in our home, we can live on that sound of Om.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just looking at my home in my mind's eye, and I know when I do have a kind of a temple house.
Yes.
when I walk in, there's the Buddha over there. There's plants, and when I'm looking at it now, I'm seeing it's very temple-ish.
Yes.
Particularly when you walk in.
Yeah.
And then there's the dining room. Yeah, I'm going to take your app and see how well I've done.
Yeah, it would be interesting to then look where your wisdom direction is.
Yeah.
And then put that Buddha in your wisdom direction, but don't put your Buddha in your success direction.
Right.
Right? Because let's be honest, the Buddha was not a businessman.
No.
Right? That was not his
thing.
That was his thing.
He was a spiritual science, mysticism.
He's a mystic, right? So in that sense, I would not put a Buddha in your relationship direction either, because Buddha was not focused on relationships. Right. So from that perspective,
he was a renunciate.
Yeah, he was a renunciate. So in that sense, you need to see where do you place it. Like when you walk into my home, I have like a beautiful image of the the Buddha of thousand hands, the compassion Buddha. But I love that because it's like I see thousands of hands like you welcomed. Right. But I also have a picture of my family there.
At the same space?
At the same space. Right.
Okay.
So when I walk in, yes, that God presence is there. You're welcomed in my home with your whole presence. But my family is there. There's a plant there, a crystal there. It's like I put like the words joy and belief.
Do you have different color crystals for different things?
Yes, you do. And we talk about that. Yeah. So depending also the directions that you are connected with, there will be different crystals. Yeah.
So if someone is trying to manifest more prosperity, what color crystal would they put in their
Well,
success?
I would say in your success direction, we always try to work with gold.
Okay.
Yeah, because gold is like shows you're the best in something. Like if you think the Olympic Games, the golden medal.
Gold
right?
medal, yeah.
The gold medal, the Oscar is in gold, right? So you can put something in gold, like Pirit is a golden symbol. But it could be based on your birthday, like my success direction is Southwest.
What's your birthday?
I am in February 15th. Yeah, I'm an Aquarius. And so the whole point is it's the day, the year, and the month. So it's the combination of that. It's like I said, it's not a typical numerology calculation. But for me, it's rose quartz. Yeah. So I always put something in rose quartz in my success direction because that's stronger for me. Yeah. So I don't know yours, but we'll figure that one out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Everyone, this is Your Home is a Vision Board, Marie Diamond. She has brought a lot of good information here. I've always wanted her on my podcast, so this is great. And so, if you're driving home, and you wish you would have said something that we didn't talk about, what would that be?
I think I would express my gratitude to the universe. First of all, for have given me that mission, right? When I was 15. And
that's an amazing story.
Yeah. And so that's my gratitude. And also the gratitude for everyone that co-created this beautiful mission with me. And you're part of it as you're part of the secret. So I want to express my gratitude to you for being in my life.
And I really appreciate your story of the master teachers that came and spoke to you. Because when I first woke up, that's what happened to me. Yeah. Most of my teachers were dead. Yeah. I mean, they're alive, but they were on the other side. And I had and still have real relationship with them. And so now at this arc of a lot of my friends have passed over. Yeah. And in different prayer circles that I've been in, and they're on the other side. Yeah. So now I still have relationship with them.
Of course.
So when I was really young, I had relationship with Walter Russell and Ernest Holmes and all these people. And now I have relationship with them, but also some of my friends who have passed over.
Beautiful.
But they're just as real.
Of course
as
it is.
Us talking.
Yeah. Because it's consciousness.
Yeah.
There's no barrier. And I think what happened for me after that near-death experience, the veil opened up completely. Yeah. Right? And so it was not only that master that came up to me. There were many. And so that veil...
Different beings, right?
Different beings.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Because the veil is open. Yeah. And it stayed open. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was killed in a lucid dream, but I died. And when I woke up, I could see differently. Yeah. And I had to adjust, and it took me a while not to be weird, to be able to.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a couple of years too.
It took a minute, but
But knowing now that we can speak about that publicly, it's just such grace.
Yeah. What used to be woo-woo is now science.
Yes.
Like the last 40 years, everything has changed. Yeah. In terms of quantum physics, being able to absolutely describe these particular states, biofeedback. Yes. It's all science now.
It is. Yeah. So we are in a blessed time because of that.
Right. And so what would you say to people who are, at this time in human history, there's a lot of chaos in the world. Yeah. People are afraid at the ups and downs of what's happening politically and wars. What would you say to them based on everything that you know? Yeah.
So first of all, when we know there's chaos around us, you always have the possibility to create peace inside of yourself. And so sometimes that's very hard if your home is not creating that for you also, right? So you cannot control always what is going on in the world. That's not possible. You can pray for it. You can do wonderful work for it. But ultimately, you need to focus on you a little bit also, that you're like, I'm in peace and in harmony myself. And if your home is supporting you with that, I always say, if every home would be feng shuied, like literally, there would not be this chaos in the world, right? But of course,
everybody wouldn't be living in beta. They'd be living more in alpha and theta,
totally,
delta.
yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen that when I work with people that are top political leaders or in royal families, when we then start changing things there, and working for several governments over the years, is like the insights and the change that happened in the country was tremendous. Yeah. And I said, like, we cannot always do that for everywhere in the world, but we can start with our own self.
Right.
Yeah. And we can help our families and we can help our children. And that's why people, they start practicing this and they passing it on, and like they see all these shifts in whole families happening. And ultimately that will open themselves up perhaps to a higher realm of knowledge and consciousness. And because sometimes people are saying, Marie, I really want to help my partner or my children to go to the next level, and we don't know how to do that. I said, well, start with your home. Yeah. And it's very interesting because, lately I've been speaking at many conservative radio and TV shows and so on, and they're opening up to the energy of their home, because they don't perhaps totally understand that I'm changing them into beta, from beta to alpha, right? But the whole...
No, it's very interesting because
it's indirectly,
I know.
right?
I was on the East Coast and I went to a very conservative TV station.
Yeah.
And while they were on air, they were like saying the conservative things.
Yeah.
And then when we had dialogue and started talking, they totally shifted into who they were.
Yeah.
No longer the program they were supposed to be giving on television. Yeah. I met them.
Yes.
As we started to meditate together, we started to do the life vision process together. Yeah. They weren't the people that people are looking at on television. They became themselves right in front of me. It was a very interesting dynamic.
Very beautiful. And that's why I'm saying, chaos is present, but it's just a step further and there's peace.
Right. I agree.
Right?
I was just saying earlier that emergence is always preceded by chaos.
Yes, it always is.
It's always something coming into surface to be dissolved, and then you go to the next level, to the higher order of being.
So if we know that and we trust that process, and I always say, even God is present in chaos.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So, but just don't go into the chaos. Don't go into the emotional chaos. Create some peaceful energy around you in your relationships, and know that this is actually contributing to change that chaos into peace.
Yeah. I think people really need to understand that when they have a deep sense of peace within themselves, they are making a difference.
They are.
Even if they can't see it right away.
Yeah.
It's actually happening.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. Something my master Saint Germain said to me, like, if you create peace in yourself, within a year, there's peace in your family. When you have peace in your family, within a year, there's peace in your country. And if we continue like this, we are opening up the realm of peace.
In our lifetime.
In our life, yeah.
This is Marie Diamond. Tell them how they can be in touch with you.
Yes, so definitely download the Marie Diamond app that is on all the app stores. Get my book, Your Home is a Vision Board. MarieDiamond.com is my website. And follow me on Marie Diamond Official, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok for many videos that are available to you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Let me ask you one other thing. What's next on your horizon?
Wow. Well, actually, I'm going for a month to Europe to do a whole tour in Europe, a book signing tour. And doing my next season for the TV show in the fall, and just continuing this work. Right. It's the most amazing time right now to spread this work. Yeah.
Outstanding. This is Marie Diamond. You know the name of her book. You know how to be in touch with her. Feng Shui Your Life. Create a center of peace within your own heart and let it expand through your home, your friends, family, associations, so that the peace within will ultimately be revealed beyond the world of appearances. You'll help change the world. Marie, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Michael, for having me.
Absolutely. Peace and blessings, everyone. Peace and blessings. I truly hope that you are enjoying Take Back Your Mind podcast. The Take Back Your Mind podcast is sponsored primarily by the Agape International Spiritual Center. In other words, everything that you see in terms of the staff that puts this together, the editing, the equipment, all of this is sponsored by our Agape International Spiritual Center. So if you are enjoying the podcast, I'm inviting you to support the sponsor. Support Agape. Simply go to agapelive.com and make a donation. And say in the donation that you are supporting the podcast. It allows us to keep broadcasting. It allows us to keep putting these magnificent moments together with these wonderful people that I get to interview. We keep having the possibility of updating the equipment that's necessary and providing the wonderful content that many of you are writing in and saying, I really love the podcast. Support the podcast. Support the sponsor. Agape International Spiritual Center. agapelive.com. You can also text to donate. You can text the word give to 424-321-6243 and put podcast so that we know that you're really supporting this wonderful podcast. Our secondary sponsor is AdaptoZen, ADAPTOZEN. This is my superfood greens. It's nutritionally dense because I teach spirit, mind, and body. We want our body temples to be healthy. So one of the products is my superfood greens. You can go to NutraRise.com. Those three little lines you see, you hit those three little lines and you'll see AdaptoZen. There's two products, my superfood greens and a product called Elevate, which are organic mushrooms for your health. You can put both in your smoothies so that you have main ingredients for the health of your body temple. These are our sponsors. Primary sponsor, Agape International Spiritual Center. Secondary sponsor, AdaptoZen. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be wise. Circulate and share. Peace and blessings. Dynamic blessings to you, and this is the portion of our Take Back Your Mind podcast. We actually go into practice for a few moments of meditation, a few moments of extracting our attention away from the world of effects and appearances and circumstances and situations and conditions, things that oftentimes allow people to go into states of anxiety or anxiousness, worry, doubt, and fear, forgetting that the center of your being can be a place of peace, which will radiate from your center and begin to even change the conditions in your life. So instead of trying to look out in the world and manipulate the world or hope that the world is better so you can be peaceful, no. You touch the place of peace within yourself, and then you bring that to the world. And then since everything is vibration, everything is oscillating, the world begins to change. Why? Because you're changing. So let's turn within in this moment. Let's do the opposite of relaxation. Take your shoulders and squeeze them to your ears. Clench everything. Squeeze your face. Release. And give yourself permission to relax. Eyes closed. Slight smile on the face. Contemplate a moment in your life. Doesn't matter when or where. but contemplate a moment of your life you had a felt sense of peace. A deep sense of serenity, peace, well-being. As you're tapping that mystic chord of memory, give yourself permission to feel that sense of peace right now. It's not based upon an external condition or circumstance or situation or even a person. It's being generated from within your own being. It starts off as a memory, and now it's a part of the oscillation of the vibration that you're holding. Peace, well-being, serenity. Now, with every breath that you take, allow the breath to be a spiritual talisman for the activation of this peace. So you're blessing your breath. So every time you breathe, there's an amplification, magnification of the awareness and the felt sense of peace. The breath is blessed. Every time we breathe, peace is magnified. Every breath, deeper activation of the feeling tone of peace, not based on conditions or circumstances, but based on your ever-expanding awareness of the feeling tone of peace, activated by your mystic chord of memory of any moment in your life where you felt peace. Now, first see yourself with your eyes still closed, moving into your world of activity, whatever that activity is going to be. But like an astronaut, you're carrying your own atmosphere. A deep sea diver, you're carrying your own atmosphere with you. You're carrying the atmosphere of peace everywhere you go today. You're not trying to get the peace from the world. You're bringing the peace everywhere you go. Just see that happening in your mind's eye. See it happening in your heart. You are the peace bringer, the troubadour of peace, the ambassador of peace, the harbinger of peace, the carrier of peace. So that every environment you come into starts to vibrate at the high frequency of peace, because you are carrying it. For a moment, see that, feel that. Now, as you slowly open your eyes, you allow yourself to be in a great state of gratitude for your life. As you go back into your daily activity, you're carrying the frequency of the peace that passes human understanding, making the world more hospitable, more wonderful because of what you're carrying. Peace and blessings, and thank you for your participation. Your time is very valuable, so I want to thank you for lending us your ear and participating in taking back your mind. If you want to submit a question for the question of the week, please submit it to podcast@michaelbeckwith.com. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please submit a review and let us know your thoughts. Stay on top of current episodes by subscribing to the podcast so that you'll receive alerts and not miss one single episode. And feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and family. And until we meet again, take back your mind, and you will take back your life. Peace and blessings.